Hi everyone, I'm Sharada Mani, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce. Today we discussed about design thinking concept in winding up. Okay, design thinking is the human-centered iterative process used to tackle the complex changes by prioritizing empathy, collaborative, and rapid experimental rather than a linear regret sequences. It is often a winding up path or an non-linear approaches that allows teams to move back the four between stages, that is empathize, defining, ideating, prototyping, and testing to refine solution based on the new insights. The five phases of design thinking is empathize. The first one is empathize. It is in research. So in this stage, investigating user needs, though observation and engagement to understand the root of the cases of a problem. Okay, the next one is define, that is analyze observation to define the core problem that ensuring right challenges is addressed. The third one is ideate. The ideate means the generator, brainstorming a wide range of creative solution rather than settling on the first idea. The next one is prototype. It is the building the blocks, that is create tangible low cost mockups to turn ideas into a physical iterative forms. The next one is test. It is refine. Gather user feedback on prototypes, often revealing new insights that require returning to the earlier stages. The non-linearity terms relay move straight from the phase 1 to 5. Instead of the wind, though, the process is re-evaluating the problems as they prototype and test. It mainly focus on solving the human needs rather than just technological or business requirement. It is the prototyping and testing are repeated to turn abstract idea to the refined actionable access. It is changes the benefit. The first is correct, encouraging deeper the explanation. So let's see what they explain.
Hello, we are here to talk about a design thinking format of winding up of the company. Introduction. Winding up refers to the legal process through which a company closes its operations and ultimately dissolves. During this process, the company's assets are collected and sold, its liabilities and debts are paid, and any remaining money is distributed to company shareholders. After completing these steps, the company is officially dissolved and ceases to exist as a legal entity. Winding up generally occurs when a company cannot continue its business due to financial discontinuity and continuous losses, or when the owner decides to discontinue the business. The concept of winding up can be clearly understood using the design thinking framework, which is problem solving approach used to analyze situations and develop effective solutions. Design thinking consists of five main stages: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test.
Empathize. Understanding the situation. The first stage of design thinking is empathize, which focuses on understanding the problems and concerns of all stakeholders involved. In the context of winding up, this stage involves analyzing why the company is unable to continue its operation. A company may face several issues such as declining sales, heavy debts, poor management decisions, or unfavorable economic conditions. Over time, these problems may prevent the company from earning profits or meeting its financial obligations. When the company cannot pay its debts or operate efficiently, the possibility of winding up arises. At this stage, it is also important to consider the impact of various stakeholders. The stakeholders include shareholders, employees, creditors, suppliers, and government authorities. Shareholders may concern about losing their investments, employees may worry about losing their jobs, and creditors want assurance that the money owed to them will be repaid.
Define. Identifying the core problem. The define stage focuses on clearly identifying the main problem faced by the company. After analyzing the situation, the company determines whether it can recover financially or be closed to business. In many cases, the core problem is the company's inability to pay its debt or generate enough profit to sustain the operations. continuing business under such circumstances may lead to further critical financial losses and increased liabilities. Therefore, the company must clearly define the problem and recognize that winding up may be the must and most practical solution. During this stage, the financial position of the company is examined carefully. Management reviews the company's assets, liabilities, and outstanding obligations. If the company's liabilities exceed its assets and recovery seems unlikely, the decision to be wind up the company becomes more justified.
Ideate, exploring possible solutions. The ideate stage involves generating different possible solutions to the identified problem. In the case of winding up, this means considering the various methods through which a company can be legally closed. There are three main types of winding up: compulsory winding up, voluntary winding up, and traders voluntary winding up. Compulsory winding up. This occurs when a court or tribunal orders the company to be wound up. Traders or other stakeholders may apply to the court for such an order. Voluntary winding up. In voluntary winding up, the shareholders decide to close the company on their own. This decision may be taken when the company has fulfilled its objectives or when the company owner no longer wish to continue their business. Creditors voluntary winding up. This type occurs when the company cannot pay its debts and creditors became involved in the winding up process. This ideal stage helps in selecting the most suitable method based on the company's financial condition.
Prototype. Implementing the winding up process. The prototype stage involves implementing the chosen solution in the winding up process. The stage includes carrying out the necessary procedures to close the company. The liquidator is appointed to manage the process. The liquidator takes control of the company assets and the operations. The main responsibility of the liquidator is to collect the company's assets, sell them, and convert into the cash. If any money remains after paying all liabilities, it is distributed among the shareholders according to their ownership.
Test financial disclosure of the company. The final stage of this design thinking is testing, where the result of the implemented process are reviewed in the context of winding up. This stage involves completing all legal formalities and confirming that the company has fulfilled its obligations. The liquidator prepare a final report detailing how the assets were sold and how the debts were paid. This report is submitted to the relevant legal authority. Once the authority verifies that all procedures have been followed properly, the company is officially dissolved. At this point, the company's name is removed from the official register of companies and legal cases to exit. Conclusion. Winding up is an essential legal process that allows companies to close their operations in a structured and responsible manner. By applying the design thinking framework, the winding up process becomes easy to understand. The stages of empathy define ideate